ceramic coating my new wheels, and I'm going to show you how to do all that. Basically, I'm going to do it before I install or test fit my new 6-piston brake setup, mainly just the calipers for now, because it's not, you know, a ready-made kit. It's going to be modified slightly for my car. And once we do the test fitting, I'm going to, you know, send the calipers back to Steelworks, and then they're going to powder coat them. I don't know what color it's going to be. It's going to be a surprise. But my plan is to have all of that done before Carlisle. And yeah, so I'm going to show you guys how to ceramic coat, you know, your wheels if you want to try it yourself. I'm going to be using the Gion Q2 rim. It's supposed to last up to a year. I've seen as little as 6 months. You know, it depends on some of the reviews and like how well you take care of them. Once you open it, you have about 6 months at most before it goes bad. Shelf life's pretty low. If you're doing multiple sets of wheels, there should be enough in here to coat 3 sets of wheels. I'm going to try and coat mine twice. Obviously, the more coats you put on, the longer it's going to last. But we'll do that. In the kit, it comes with the ceramic coat, and then applicator block, and 4 suede towels. I also picked up, some makeup sponges, because my wheels are a little bit more like intricate, and this block's going to be a pain trying to get into it. You don't have to use makeup sponges. I would use new ones, don't use your girlfriend's. My wheels are brand new, so I don't have to really deep clean them. All I really need to do is I'm going to be using some Gion Q2M prep. I try to use the same products together, just in case there's some issues, but you just need to degrease them beforehand. Not isopropyl alcohol doesn't always get everything. Wheels are not new. You're going to need to use an iron and tar remover, and then degreaser like that. And then depending on how long you land on them, you're going to want to clay bar them as well. And if you have like painted gloss wheels, you might want to get them corrected and stuff and get all the scratches out of it. Otherwise, you know, they're going to be stuck under that coating for about a year. So here's my new wheel. It's a Motegi MR 126. It's a 19 by 9.5 with a 40mm offset. I do need to run a small spacer, but that's mainly right here is very shallow, and the hub from my wheel bearing actually bottoms out against this. So if this was milled a little bit deeper, I probably wouldn't have that problem, but I'm going to run spacers. Mainly I'm going to run spacers just because at 40mm they're still sucked in a little bit. I only really need a 5mm spacer up front and a 10 in the back. So I've already cleaned this wheel, but I'm going to go ahead and just kind of show you guys again, you know, what all you need to do. So like I said, if this isn't a brand new wheel, you're going to want to use iron and tar remover, and then you know, clay bar and stuff like that. Get it as clean as possible and flat as possible. Another tip for when you're clay barring it, if you wear gloves or even put like a sandwich bag over your hand and rub it against the whatever surface it is, you'll be able to feel contaminants that you wouldn't normally have felt. But basically, all you're going to do is get your prep and just spray the wheel down. Like I said, I've already cleaned mine, so this is kind of just double checking. And then grab your towel, and then just, you're going to want to clean it off. It's not going to be too bad. Like I said, mine are already fairly clean, so I'm not going to have to worry about it. But I'm going to go ahead and wipe this one off, and then we'll get to coating the wheel. So this stuff actually has a very low working time, probably about 15 seconds at most. I've seen people put it on for as long as 30, but you run the risk of it getting tacky, and then, you know, it's harder to remove. Basically, if that happens, all you need to do is just apply a little bit more, and it'll help you remove it. But you don't need a whole lot. If you have really simple design wheels like TE37, something 5-spoke plain design, you can probably coat the whole wheel, and by the time you get done, you can you'll be ready to wipe off the other stuff. My wheels are not as simple, so what I'm going to end up doing is using one of the blenders and breaking it into like 4. So I'm going to do 1/4, do the next section, do the next section, I'm going to try and film it so where you guys can see it. I don't really have a good setup right now, so model it beforehand. Should always do that for any of your detailing products. Just make sure everything's all in the mix. After you apply it to the applicator, put the cap back on because you're on the risk of it starting to harden. And you don't need a whole lot, so just get in, a good couple drops, and then coat your wheel. I'm going to use the valve stem as my starting point and do a quarter from there. Kind of hard to see on the wheel because I'm white, but if you look at it a certain direction, you can kind of see the sheen has changed a little bit. So, let you know where you've already been. And then, once you get that done, grab a towel. I have it folded into fourths, that way, when I get to the next wheel, I can just fold it over and have a new spot. And then all you're going to want to do is just kind of level it and buff it out. Basically, that's by the time you get done the whole wheel, if you want to apply a second coat, uh, they say the minimum is an hour between coats, but they recommend you wait at least 4. And then after you're completely done, you're going to want to let them sit for a minimum of 12 hours. Better to let them sit for about 24. And then you can, get them wet or everything and probably install them. While you're using this stuff, you want to be in a well ventilated area, as well as wearing gloves. You don't have to wear a respirator if you really feel you need to. That's up to you. I'm not wearing one. I'm in an open air shop. It's not too bad. You don't want to do this in direct sunlight as well, or really cold or really hot humid days. I live in Florida, so it's kind of hard to not have a humid day. So just kind of take that into account when you're applying the product. Sometimes it changes how it actually applies. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish up this wheel, clean all the other ones, and then I'll show you the brakes. There's plenty of coatings you can go out and use. You don't have to use a specific one. I know Adams makes a really good one. It's also really good for beginners because it responds to UV light. So you can buy it with the black light or the UV light and actually shine it and see where you put the coating, and you can see if you've got it evenly or not. It's a little bit more user-friendly. It is a little bit more than the Geon coating. The Geon's about 45 to 50. You can find it on Amazon. The Adams coating is, I think, starts around like 50 or 60. The full kit's about 105. I'd have to look it up again. But do your own research. The Adams one obviously lasts a little bit longer than Geon does, where, like I said, it's about 6 months to a year, depending on how you wash it, if you keep up with the maintenance, if you use the top coater and stuff like that. But that goes for any ceramic coating. If you keep up with it, it lasts a little bit longer. So I am done on the front of the wheel. What I'm going to do now is actually use the suede towel to do the barrel of the wheel. But yeah, so basically when you want to lay it down, just like the front, couple dabs, you don't need a whole lot. I'm seeing you're going to want to go in a crosshatch pattern as you're laying it down so you can get it level. So I'm home today, off. I got to work Saturday, so I took off today to do some yard work and stuff. But it's been about a day and a half since I ceramic coated the wheels. I already got them on. we're going to see how well I did ceramic coating them. So here's just another quick look of the car with them on. I think this is probably my favorite set of wheels that I've had on the car, and I've had about 4 sets since owning this thing. Look at that. So much better. Now what I'm hoping is this makes cleaning the white wheels a lot easier, because as of right now it's still my daily. So the fronts are already a little dirty. I don't know if you can see that in there. It'll focus on it, but right in there, and like down by the valve stem. But I mean, all I did was spray it with water, and like clean like that. Didn't really have to do a whole lot. I'm sure if I sprayed it with some like soap to help lift the dirt away, it would have made it nicer. But yeah, I'll take this over having to scrub them every couple days. All right, caliper showed up for test fitting, and there's the 6 piston against the factory one. All right, so caliper's on. There are some slight modifications we're gonna have to make to the hub and everything to make this fit. But so this is just for test fitting before we send them out for powder coating. Nice. So here's the wheels a week after driving on them. I tried to use my regular car soap. It didn't work as well, but this is just a very pH neutral wheel cleaner. So a very mild one, which is safe to use on ceramic coated wheels. I checked before doing so. Just don't use a very harsh one. But as you can see, wheel came clean, no issues. So today I am at Fitment Nation down in Desertland in Orlando. Just setting up. They're still letting cars in. Show doesn't start till about 1. But after today, I'll be driving to Sarasota to Snailworks, and we're going to be putting on the calipers. And I'm going to be redoing my valve cover from red to a different color. It's going to match the calipers. But yeah, so I'm going to show a little bit of the show in this video.
Honey.
Alright, so after the show yesterday, I drove down to Sarasota. It was a fun drive. It rained the entire way. But today we are here at Snailworks. We're going to finally get my brakes put on, so you guys are going to see this color for the first time as I am. I'm also going to be redoing my valve cover while we're doing the brakes, and I'm not sure what else we might be doing. We're pretty much going to be here the whole day, and then I get to drive home. It's going to be a long day. Tired. after a long ass day at Snail Works, we finally got the new brakes on, powder coated the valve cover, and then changed out the tail lights. I got a new intake on and a bunch of other shit. I don't know, I can't remember. We were up for over 24 hours almost. But I made it to about 100 miles away from home, and my car started to run like ass. Well, it turns out my intercooler hose popped off, so here I am at a CVS. I go get a screwdriver, and we're gonna throw it back on. All right, let's get this done. That motherfucker popped off. All right, so that clamp is now tight. Let's see what else happens to me on this fucking ride home. I just remembered somebody had a blowout in front of me on the way down here too, and I didn't know how bad the damage was going to be. Man, it's not bad. I'm just mad that I'm gonna have to like rewrap this bumper before I actually wanted to. It's not bad. It's just scuffed here and all that, but I mean, the bumper wasn't the greatest anyway because I daily drive this car, and you know, it was the first time ever wrapping a bumper, so like it's all messed up. But I didn't want to have to redo it until I got a new bumper. Oh man, I might just say fuck it and just run it like that. So I'm home. Well, I'm waking up from being home. I got home around noon and then passed out. He's not happy that I wasn't here, but I'm gonna clean up one of the wheels, and then I'm gonna show the brakes, you know, out in the daylight. Hopefully it'll show fairly well, and you'll be able to see like the flake and everything. And then I'm gonna show off some of the other stuff we did. I had gotten aero side skirts while I was there, and we all spaced, and I completely forgot to bring them back home with me so I could wrap them. All right, so that's the 19 by 9.5 with the new caliper and everything. I believe we did the math. These are actually 365 millimeter rotors. I thought they were 370, so if I had said that, it was wrong. They're 365s. But I don't know if you can see in the sunlight. It's not really showing it now, but these go a little bit lighter, and then you can see all the flake in them, and they look amazing, especially behind a white wheel. And then we'll walk behind the car. I finally got rid of the red tail lights, and we now have ice blocks. What I'm going to end up doing is eventually popping the lenses off. Don't focus on my hand. We're going to pop the lenses off, and then change the inside of the housing and stuff. You can actually kind of see right there. That part of my wrap is messed up, so I'm going to have to redo that before the next show. Luckily, it's just this is inlaid. I don't know what I do wrong, but every 2 months or something, it decides to peel back. So, all right, so we'll go back to the front of the car, and neighbor's dog. But, all right, so you can see we powder coated the valve cover to match the brakes, and then I actually got powder coated the coil cover. I haven't put it back on since it blew the spark plug out back a couple months ago in South Carolina. Plus I need to get new hardware. And then we have the new intake from Snail. This is still in the design works, still basically a prototype. This filter doesn't quite fit. This was just one I had on hand. This is provided by them. This was mine. So I got to get the right filter to put on there. I'm gonna try and get one of the foam filters because they're, you know, better. And you don't want to run oil filters with the MAF anyway, because if you over oil it, you screw it up and everything. But this is their new intake. It's still in development. There's going to end up being a heat shield that goes over here. I don't have that piece, but at least for now, you know, I don't have my janky intake set up. And then if you don't remember what that looked like, that's the old janky one that was on the car. That is just not good, honestly. Just not good at all. This is probably the nicest part of the whole thing. But it also, this doesn't fit the theme of the car now because there's getting rid of all the red. Eventually those will be going too. But so all that's done. Like I said, this isn't the finished product. This is This will change slightly. All right, so that's basically it. There might have been another couple small things that I forgot. But, you know, it's pretty much ready. I got to do, as you saw earlier, the backing plate was rubbing on the driver's side. I still have it on the passenger side, so tomorrow at work I'm gonna go ahead and just remove it. I was trying to leave them on because that way I didn't get a bunch of brake dust in the wheel, and you know, but it's not gonna work. And that was on me anyway. That was something I wanted to try and do to keep it. I was hoping we could just kind of bend it out of the way. It didn't work, so I figured I'd try it. We knew it probably wouldn't work. It didn't, but this kit has never been put on to a 2-liter before. I think they've installed 2 or 3. I don't remember offhand. We had talked about it last night. I can't remember nothing from yesterday. But I'm the only 2-liter. Most of the other cars that they have installed this kit on already have been the 2.8, so they're a little bit heavier in the front end. I know a lot of you are going to sit here and go, hey, you don't need a 6-piston caliper. You know, the LNF Cobalt brakes are plenty. So like I was saying, you know, most people do the LNF brake kit, and it's a very popular kit. You know, it's easy to bolt on. You don't have to modify anything except for the backing plate. Which is, I don't even know why I tried to keep it on this one if you got to do it on that one anyway. The upside to being partnered with Snailworks, I wanted the build to be different. I want to say unique, but everybody says they want their stuff to be unique. Basically what I was trying to do is I just want to showcase stuff that they provide, but isn't normally seen. So like this brake kit, I'm actually going to be putting the aero brakes on the rear later before Carlisle. We were rushing yesterday to get this car ready for, you know, more show worthy for Carlisle, have more stuff on it. But like even the turbo setup, I have a 19T. It's not going to stay on there for very long. Like I said, this is basically just going to showcase all the stuff that they're able to do for the cars, not necessarily something you need. I'm probably never gonna need the full capability of a 6-piston brake setup ever, even with the eventual like top mount setup and stuff that we're gonna end up doing. I'm probably still never gonna actually need it. Like the brakes that these the cars these brakes came off of are usually well over 500-600 horsepower and up, and that's factory horsepower. I don't want to have the same stuff that every Saab owner has on their car. Clearly my car's camo. But yeah, so as we continue the partnership with Snailworks, we're going to see a whole lot of cool stuff. Eventually we're going to do headlights. You know, I have the ice blocks on it now. I believe we're going to end up doing custom taillights instead of, you know, just the normal ice blocks. I'm not sure which direction we're going to go for those, but considering the car's mostly grayscale, that's going to be probably something blacked out or something, just something that's not normally seen. You know, eventually we're going to do a different grille, different bumpers, maybe a hybrid bumper of some sort. We have a few different ideas. We haven't figured out which way we want to actually go just yet. We're fairly certain which one we want to put on there, and it's going to look awesome either way. I don't know, something might pop up that changes our mind. And then eventually we're going to try to do a engine rebuild. So I'm definitely putting an F40 in it to get rid of the F35, you know, LSD. Let's see, what's some other, I can't remember all the stuff. I eventually want to put bags on it, but that's me. That's not, Snailworks doesn't provide everything for this car, so it's just their products. My car is not free for sure. I still spend money on this thing daily. But I am going to end up changing up the wrap. Still going to keep camo just because, you know, that's who I am at this point. I'm kind of stuck with it. but it's going to be something different, and hopefully it works out, and I'm going to try to pay homage to Saab themselves. So, but that's as much as I'm going to say about it. A couple people I've talked to already kind of know the idea that I want, but that'll be for probably the end of the year after the last show I do, which is going to be in October. I'm going to try to take off the last 2 months, maybe into early next year, before some of the Euro shows, to actually get some of the body straight and you know, get it professionally wrapped, because I'm not wrapping this car anymore myself. So yeah, stay tuned. The car is going to change a lot over the next year or two, and definitely by next year it's going to be a completely different car.